This meeting of the Los Angeles City Board of Public Works. Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 17, 2021. It is 10 a.m. or it's 10:17 a.m. Dr. Campos, do we have quorum?
Good morning, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. Mr. President, you do have a quorum. At this time, we do not have any callers on the line under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No callers or members of the general public that are on the line for any public comments on any of the items for today's agenda as well. For the record, Mr. Jordan has joined us, and he is our counsel this morning. Good morning, Mr. Jordan. And
good morning.
Good morning, thank you. And Mr. President, there's also been two requests to continue items number 5 and item number 16. Item number 5, there's been a request to continue it to Wednesday, December 15, 2021. And on item number 16, there's been a request from the Bureau to continue the report to Wednesday, December 1st, 2021.
Unless anybody objects, I'm fine with both of those continuances.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will note that for the record.
All right.
Oh, is there an objection?
There's not an objection, just a correction. I'm pretty sure that the latest communication from Wing on his continuation was until further notice.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that this morning. So let's just continue that one, Dr. Campos, without a date.
For Mr. President, just for the record also, items that are continued on advisement to be determined may or may not appear before your board in the near future, but they will always be on the docket.
So that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we good? Okay. So general public comment is closed officially, and we will go straight into the agenda. First off, we'll take the minutes from Friday, October 29th, 2021. I'll motion to approve those minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any objections or concerns, Garcia, Caloza, or Villegas? All right, hearing none. The minutes from Friday, October 29, 2021 are approved and adopted forthwith. We'll take items 1, 2, and 3 together. I know Dr. Campos will be joining me, and Matthew Castellanos will be heading over, and we will receive bids for items 1, 2, and 3. Good morning, Matthew. How are you, sir? So I'll read all 3 and then we'll just go on through, okay? So item 1 is for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 10 through 110 and the 101 Freeway to Cardinal Street. Work order SZC 13624, estimated cost $52,506,100. This is in CD 14. And this item was continued from Wednesday, October 27, 2021. Our second project for which we will receive bids or open bids is the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Digester Insulation Replacement CIP 5245. Work order SZT 11423. Estimated cost $16,149,400. This is in CD 15. And then the third project for which we're receiving bids, Tiny Home Village, San Fernando plus Branford, 9710 San Fernando Road, Sun Valley, California, 91352. Work order E1908914. Estimated cost $4,955,362. and this is a project in CD6. We will start with receipt of bids for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 10, 101 Freeway to Cardinal Street.
Thank you, Mr. President. For Matter Complex Executive Officer, opening up the bid for the North Outfall Sewer Project. We did receive 8 bids in total. The first bid received was from Allied Construction Company for a total bid amount of $39,936,632 even. That's $39,936,632 from Mladen Mtg Construction Company Incorporated. The second bid received for this first project is from Coolidge & Sons LP for a total bid amount of $48,921,085 even. That's $48,921,085.
Who was that?
From Coolidge & Sons LP.
48.
I'll repeat it one more time.
Sorry.
Second bid is from Coolidge & Sons LP for a total bid amount of $48,921,085 even. $48,921,085 from Coolidge & Sons LP. Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Third bid received for this first project is from Mitchell's Corporation. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. MICHELS Corporation for a total bid amount of $59,175,515.73. That's $59,175,515.73 from Mitchell's Corporation. Fourth bid received for the first project is from Vito Artukovich and Son Incorporated and Vidmar Inc. AJV for a total bid amount of $48,839,425 even. That's $48,839,425 from Vito Artukovich and Son Inc. and Vidmar Inc. AJV. The next bid received is from Spinello Infrastructure West Incorporated for a total bid amount of $33,519,257 even. That's $33,519,257 from Spinello Infrastructure West Incorporated. The sixth bid received for the first project is from Hewitt Infrastructure West Company for a total bid amount of $48,166,798 even. That's $48,166,798 from Hewitt Infrastructure West Company. For the record, line item number 20 has been lined out and initialed by the contractor. The seventh bid received for this first project is from JR Pipeline Company Incorporated for a total bid amount of $54,251,416 even. That's $54,251,416 from JR Pipeline Company Incorporated. The eighth and final bid received for the first project is from Royce Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $44,246,736 even. That's $44,246,736 246736 from Loy's Construction Incorporated. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for the first project. If you'd like me to repeat any of those numbers, just please say so, and I will gladly do so.
Everybody get those? Okay, all good.
8 in total. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. President. We'll go ahead and now begin to open up bids for the second project. This is for the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Digester project in CV15. We did receive only one bid for this project. The one and only bid for the second project is from PCL Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $24,335,700 even. That's 24335,700 from PCL Construction Incorporated. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for the second project. We will go ahead and move on and open bids for the third project. Again, the third project is from BPW Tiny Home Village. We received 3 bids in total for the third project. The first bid received for the third project is from Ford EC Incorporated for a total bid amount of $3,577,339 even. That's $3,577,339 from Ford EC Incorporated. The second bid received for the third project is from CS Legacy Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $4,431,850 even. That's $4,431,850 from CS Legacy Construction Incorporated. The third and final bid received for the third project is from Access Pacific Incorporated for a total bid amount of $3,430,000 even. That's $3,430,000 from Access Pacific Incorporated. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for the third project. It also concludes all bids for today's agenda.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Thank you, Mr. Castellanos. Colleagues, did anybody miss anything there? All right. While Dr. Campos is here, we will go ahead. I will motion to receive the bids and to receive and file the bids for items 1, 2, and 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia, I believe. Commissioner Colosa. Commissioner Colosa with a second. Dr. Campos, you want to take a roll call?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a motion by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Colosa to receive, open, and declare the bids for items 1, 2, and 3. We will go ahead and take the vote now at this time. We'll start with President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Colosa.
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
Thank you. This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, could we consider items 1, 2, 3 forthwith?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Okay. That brings us to item number 4. Item number 4 is a task order solicitation number 27M, Jacobs Engineering Group, pre-qualified on-call consultants list, 6th Street Viaduct replacement project, recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Jacobs from the pre-qualified on-call bridge, civil engineering, and other design and support services consultants list to provide program management support during construction and closeout of the 6th Street Viaduct replacement project as stated in TOS number 27M with a budget authority of $447,000, including contingency. Ms. Sanchez de la Vega is with us apparently. Good morning, Ms. Sanchez de la Vega. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, President Good. Julia Sanchez de la Vega here with the Bureau of Engineering, seeking the board's authority to authorize the city engineer to issue a task order to Jacobs from our pre-qualified on-call bridge consultant list to provide program management services during both construction and the closeout of the 6th Street Viaduct replacement project for a total authority of $447,000, including contingency. So the scope of this new task order will be to allow for a continuation, will be continued program management services through the construction completion and closeout. The main items being provided in this scope include environmental support, public outreach, and as needed support services. The environmental support services will extend approximately 2 years beyond completion of the project through mid-2024 due to the post-construction environmental monitoring requirements, particularly BAT and bird survey requirements from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Additional services being provided by this outreach include the public outreach, which will keep the area residents and businesses informed of the project schedule, progress, and impacts as required by the project EIR, Environmental Impact Report. And then Jacobs will also provide program management services, including audit support, which we'll see quite a bit of for the 6th Street Viaduct project, support with our last financial annual plan update due later this year, and as well as ensuring that all of our finances are closed and all of our federal grants that we receive, everything granted to the project. So to tell you a little bit about the selections for this task order, the Bureau of Engineering solicited proposals from all 30 firms on the bridge on-call list. I will note that there were 2 firms, HNTB, our design consultant, and TY Lin, our CM consultants, that were excluded from consideration due to project program documents, not allowing them to serve in dual roles on the project. We did have one firm, Jacobs, respond to the TOS, who happened to be the firm that provided PM support through the expiration of our previous on-call contract in October. And after reviewing their qualifications and experience, we recommend them for selection. And as we received only one proposal, we were required to go through a non-competitive justification process with Caltrans. And the city was able to successfully demonstrate that we didn't arbitrarily limit competition, nor would we likely receive additional proposals with re-advertisement. Therefore, Caltrans approved that form, and we're moving forward accordingly to recommend the board award these services. Regarding DBE on the project, we've got a great team proposed. We had set a goal of 8% for DBE, and Jacobs is pledging 45.31%. Their lead for Galvin Preservation Associates for the environmental scope, as well as Arellano Associates performing the public outreach scope, are both DBE firms. We're very excited about the team. We had just minor discussions and alignment and negotiations, but we're overall in agreement on the scope of the task order with an initial base task of $406,000 and a contingency of approximately 10%, bringing us to that $447,000, and that will be MICLA funding provided to the project per Council File 200516. We're looking forward, hopefully, to working with Jacobs, and I'm happy to address any questions the board has at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez de la Vega. Colleagues, we'll open it up. Dr. Davis.
Okay, Julia, thank you so very much for your report. In terms of what tasks we are seeking here, you mentioned something about audit services as well. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, absolutely. We have kind of regular annual as well as periodic audits that can come up on, the city, state, or federal level on the project, as well as regular materials audits. So especially, as we close out the project, we'll be bringing Jacobs on as needed. No known audits that would be included in that scope yet, but they'll be available to support that effort.
And so those audits will be comprehensive, and they will be forensic in some way to look at all of the things in terms of not only construction hardware, but also staffing issues and verifying those as well, or not.
Yeah, there's definitely a potential to kind of seek records, both on a comprehensive level as well as a spot check to happen for various, I guess, facets of the project delivery.
And when do we anticipate that we will be able to consummate this deal in terms of getting Jacobs to start doing the work that they have to do?
Oh, well, we're ready to issue with the board approval. Hopeful to get the first NTP out to them by the end of this week to ensure their support, on the critical items with public outreach as we work to open up the project and inform and continue environmental monitoring.
And when do you think that this task will be complete, or is there some estimated time period or frame that we can anticipate in terms of the work to be done in closing out? Would you say it'd take a year to close out, or what's your estimation or guesstimation, if you will?
Yes, we do have the project closeout scheduled to wrap up within approximately a year after completion of the project. The one piece that may carry us a little beyond that is the environmental monitoring. So it's required up to 3 years past the end of the project, or up to 1 year after the occupation by bats, the potential monitoring on the project. So approximately a year, I think, to close out the project and get through the post-construction phase, and potentially some additional time. I'm estimating up to a year to close out the environmental post-construction monitoring.
We anticipate that Jacobs would be our point person on the environmental task to be performed.
Yes, absolutely. Then GPA, Galvin Preservation Associates, their subconsultant, with them overseeing as the prime consultant, will be performing that task.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good, and good morning. Nice to see you, Julia. And like always, I just have a very basic question. Is this the first time Jacobs is involved with the 6th Street viaduct project?
No, they've been involved since, formerly CH2M. There was a name change that happened approximately a year or two ago, but the same team has been supporting the project even prior to the start of construction. I believe around 2012 is when they started to work with us. So very familiar, their program management team with the project as well as our team. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good to hear that. That's all for me. Dr. Davis asked really good questions, so thank you very much. And like always, looking forward to completing this huge, enormous project that we have on our hands. So thank you, Julia, for all your time and effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Villegas.
Good morning, and thank you for your report, Ms. Sanchez de la Vega. It was very thorough, easy to follow. I don't have any questions, just appreciate the information, and glad that Jacobs is able to do kind of like the end of the, I guess, like the paperwork and just the, the finale and just a little bit more of the outreach with Ariano and Associates. Appreciate all that. Thank you for your report. I have no questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Caloza?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions for Julie. I think she did a great job outlining the need for additional support to close out 6th Street, and she's done a fantastic job on this project as a whole. The Julie and Julia team, as I like to say. So we are in good hands. So no further questions from me, and congratulations to the successful closure of 2 weekends of the 101. And I know you guys also reopened the freeway a few hours ahead of schedule, which is great news. So lots of really good progress on this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza. Yeah, and thank you, Ms. Sanchez de la Vega. It's good to see you, and I don't have any further questions. My colleagues have covered it, and this is obviously critical stuff that needs to get done to get this thing done. So thank you so much, and I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll take a second from Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, can we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Caloza, seconded by Commissioner Davis to adopt item number 4. We'll start the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas?
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this to go forthwith?
Yes, let's please move this forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, folks, let's move to we'll move to item 6. Again, as a reminder, item 5 has been continued till further notice. Item 6 is a budget increase in change order number 28, Sully Miller Contracting Company, San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3 project, recommending the board, 1, authorize $900,000 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction project budget of $21,126,800 for the San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3 project, and 2, authorize the Executive Director and General Manager of the Bureau of Street Services to issue change order number 28 to Sully Miller Contracting Company in the amount of $252,500 to pay for Metrolink flagging services and other safety-related costs. I see Mr. El Sahib and Mr. Cortez are with us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, President.
So jump on in.
Hi, no, sir, you're muted.
To unmute. Okay, now it's good. It's working.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Bill Rep. Asad Al-Sahib with Streets LA. As Mr. President stated, this board report is to increase the contingency for the San Fernando Bike Path Phase 3 in the amount of $900,000 for a revised budget, $21,126,000. Give you a little bit background about this project. In general, the board on August 12, 2019, the board awarded the project to Sully Miller Contracting Company and executed the contract in the amount of $18,388,000 with a contingency amount of 10%, adding to total budget construction budget of $20,226,000. This project is located in the Sun Valley area of the city of LA in Council Districts 2 and 6, and will construct bicycle pedestrian bike path from Branford Street to Cohasset Street in both Council Districts 2 and 6.
I can give it to you now. I have it right here. It's 15784. Yep, 784.
Is it clear?
On screen.
The sound clear?
Please mute everybody if you're on screen and you're not talking.
Is the sound clear?
Yes, but I think someone else was on, Nasser, that had background noise and didn't mute, but now they've muted. I think we're good.
I see, okay. So this project is in the Sun Valley area of the city in Council District 2 and 6, and will construct bicycle pedestrian path from Branford Street to Cohasset. The stretch is about 4.1 miles long within the Metro Railroad right-of-way, adjacent to the San Fernando Road on the east side. This project will include also paved bikeway, fencing, lighting, railing, striping, signage, curb ramps, driveways, landscaping, retaining walls, and traffic signal improvements, a bikeway bridge over Tuanga Wash, and realignment of the Arvela Avenue at grade crossing, which is currently at skewed angle. We are going to correct it and make it at right angle to improve safety. This is overall in the project. Now, the background on change order 28, that's we are asking recommendation number 2 to issue change order 28 for 252,800. During the preparation of the bid documents, the city entered into construction and maintenance agreement with Metrolink, who controls the right-of-way where we are building this project. This CNM agreement requires the project to use protective devices such as flagging services when performing the work in Metro's right-of-way. The CNM agreement stipulates that protective flagging services will be imposed at Metrolink's discretion and paid for by the project, and are required to be performed by Federal Railroad Administration qualified railway flaggers furnished through Metrolink. These qualified flaggers are called Roadway Worker in Charge, RWIC, and are responsible for the safety of the construction personnel when they work in the right-of-way. And these employees in charge are responsible to communicate basically with the incoming trains and clear the workers from imminent danger before the train crosses their designated work area. In the CM agreement, the cost of these RWICs was estimated to be $1,500 per day. Due to the linear construction nature of the project, 4.1 miles, it's linear construction, we anticipated, the project management, construction management anticipated the need, and based on Metrolink's requirement, we estimated 2 people needed at $1,500 per day. During the preparation of the bid documents, and we know that this is going to result in extremely high cost. So the city discussed this concern with Metrolink at that time during the design phase, and was agreed that if we install a temporary fence, between the railroad tracks and the construction site, that would provide a layer of physical protection and help reduce the potential fall of the tracks. This would have eliminated the need and reduce the number of workers from 4 to 2. And we estimated basically two EICs to be provided through the full duration of the project. Now, with this understanding, the city construction management team has included allowances for this budget in the contract for these flagging service installation for $1,350,000 to cover the duration of the project. And that's again based on 2 EICs for the duration of the project. 1 year into the construction, Metrolink deemed that this amount of the RWICs were insufficient and required additional resources to increase the safety to their satisfaction. Metrolink expressed concerns with certain types of equipment and their potential ability to break through the temporary fence that we installed. And we counted on that fence that if they are working behind the fence, there is no need for protection, but apparently during construction, they changed their mind and they said there is potential equipment that can break through this temporary fence and we need to increase the safety, and they asked for additional resources. So what happened, the project has expended all the budget that amounted 1.3 million allowance, and we calculated based on the requirements of Metro Lane for the remaining duration of the project. We estimated that an additional 1.1 million of flagging services cost would be needed for the remainder of the project, continue the project. The project is currently 70% complete, and with this money that we are asking, it's not impacting the general fund. It's coming from TGF, grant funds, and we are looking to estimate we are going to be done with this project in March 2023. The project is moving well. Everything is moving well. It's just that we need additional money to cover this unexpected requirement from Metrolink. We met with them in the field a few times, and they were very adamant on additional services. We met with their management. Again, they are counting on the linear, and because we have linear 4.1 miles, and they need basically stations to monitor to make sure that they are covering all the safety issues. I know we had these probably in other projects also. We tried to find a location where they can basically put one employee in charge and look at different directions to minimize, but it didn't work because again of the linear footage. It's 4.1 mile linear. So that's where we are at, and that's what we are asking for additional 1.1. Or additional, sorry, 900,000.
Thank you, Mr. Elsa.
And issue the change order for 228,000. It's above. We need the board authority. It's over 150, and we need the board authority to issue this change order. That concludes my report. If you have, I'm be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nasser. Appreciate it. I'll start with Vice President Garcia. Any questions?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any, well, I shouldn't say that because I do. Mr. El Shabib, we're authorizing $900,000, and from those $900,000, $252,500 will be for the Metrolink flagging services.
Yes.
And the other rest of which would be maybe like $700 something thousand, what would that be used for?
That's remaining contingency. That's going to be.
I can provide
Perfect.
more details. So the 900,000 is all for additional flagging fees. What we're doing is we're making deposits to Metrolink for these flagging services ahead of time.
Okay.
Which is the requirement. They need to have kind of a retainer, and they draw down from that. We don't want to give them the whole 900,000 and just have them give the lump sum. So we just kind of give them bit by bit, and we have a little bit more control of the funds that way. If we don't need the full 900,000, then we don't deposit anymore. So we do expect, or we are projecting to need 1.1 million total of that. The 900,000 is taking care of most of that amount. So we're looking at other possible ways to cut down or save money for the project and not need to come back to the board to ask for an additional 200,000. But at the moment, what is available is a 900,000.
Okay, I got it. Understood. And when do we expect for the San Fernando Road bike path to be completed?
March 2023.
Oh, March 2020.
23.
March
23. Okay, a year and something.
We still have,
okay, no.
Still have over a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay, got it. All right. I don't have any other questions. Thank you for both your time, El Shabib and Mr. Cortez, and I look forward to getting this project done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yeah, no questions for me on this item. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Closer.
Thank you, President Good. And there's like some weird feedback on the meeting today. I don't know if that's just me, but it was a little bit hard to hear some of the report. I don't know if that's something in the boardroom, Dr. Campos, but how many days?
We're not getting any feedback from the boardroom, Commissioner Caloza. It may be a member that's on the line at this time or possibly a panelist. Just a reminder to all panelists, if you are on the line, if you can please mute your microphones so that we can reduce any feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Campos. So how many days of flagging is this? Just curious, is it every time that we have the contractor come out on site that flagging services are needed?
Correct. So technically, anytime there's a group out there doing any kind of work, they need a safety flagger with them, accompanying them. What's happening here is because the nature of the project, the linear length, the contractor has multiple crews working in different locations for different aspects of the project. So every time there could be up to, and including, and there has been up to 6 RWICs in one time. So that really adds up for the project. Like Nasser mentioned earlier, we met with Metrolink several times on the field to try and eliminate and reduce the amount of RWICs needed out there at any given time. And our efforts were kind of, I don't want to say it this way, but kind of disregarded. And they said that in the name of safety, they need that many RWICs at any given time. So yeah, anytime there's an RWIC, that's $1,500 per person per day.
Have we escalated this at a certain level at Metro? I mean, I know obviously we just heard from Julia on the 6th Street project where we have flagging expenses as well, but just curious if there's anything that you're able to learn from other projects within our Public Works team who deal with these costs, and what other potential cost savings we can gain somewhere else by either, I know obviously the schedule is something that we don't want to mess with, but just curious whether or not you've connected with other teams on the project schedule for flagging.
We did elevate up, and we compared it to the 6th Street Bridge, because we know we had the same issue, they had the same issue, but in their situation, they had a high point where the crew in charge can sit and monitor in multiple directions. Our nature, the project in our case, because it's linear, they could not find a station where they can reduce, and they say, okay, we can look at bidirectional or multi-directional. So we had to, every team the contractor provided, they required WIC with it. So we elevated up, and they were very adamant, and they said they could not, they tried to find spots, where they can reduce, but they said it didn't work. We elevated up, one step up.
And I'm sorry, it was a little bit hard to hear earlier. You might have answered this already, Nasser, but you're all saying that this was an unexpected expense.
Yes.
Right? So why would this be an unexpected expense if we know we're working near the railroads? Like, why was this not originally budgeted for?
I think what we counted on originally on the temporary fence, that if they work behind the temporary fence during the design preparation, when we were in discussion with Metrolink, they were okay with that they will be okay if they are working behind the temporary fence, they don't need one. But 1 year into the project, they changed their mind. And they said, no, there is potential that this equipment may break through this temporary fence, and we would need an additional EIC. And that's what we have to deal with. Go ahead.
If I may add, Nasser, so this was anticipated in terms of needing RWICs on the field. We allocated $1.35 million for this purpose. What ended up happening, and that accounted for on average 2 RWICs on site per day for the entire stretch of the project, for the schedule of the project. So what ended up happening, like Nasser was mentioning, before we went out to bid, we discussed this. We knew this was going to be a large cost for the project, and we discussed with Metrolink. At that time, they agreed that putting a fence between the rails and the project and the work site, that would reduce the amount of RWSCs as long as you're working behind the temporary fence away from the rails. And so we went ahead and allocated the $1.35 million with an average of 2 RWICs per day. Now, what ended up happening was 1 year into the project, Metrolink said that that temporary fence was insufficient protection for a certain amount of or types of equipment that are out there, which was never brought up in the past. So now any kind of heavy equipment or any equipment that has an arm that could potentially go over the fence or something to that effect, it would automatically need an RWIC. So that increased the amount of RWICs to, on average, about 4 per day, which ate into our allowances very quickly. So, now we're looking for to add additional funds for this item.
Thanks for that additional detail. That's really helpful. And I'm sure you have already, it sounds like you're working with Metrolink extensively about why, right? Because I know safety, of course, is a huge concern for all of us and all of our projects, which you are adhering to. Just like you said, it's a change in the middle of the project. So I appreciate hearing that. I don't have any further questions, but definitely, let us know if there's anything we can be helpful with as it relates to the flagging expenses and concerns with Metrolink. We've had to help coordinate and get some things unstuck for, like I said, the 6th Street project. Granted, that was a different railroad, but let us know how we can help you deliver this project successfully and hopefully with not this additional cost and this change order, which I know is also difficult for your team in terms of having to come to the board for this change. But I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. I appreciate my colleagues' questions this morning, just to give a little bit more context on the change order and just the difference that Streets LA is coming to us. I wanted to ask just a clarifying question about how much of I think I read in the report, but I'm not sure. Is it about 60% of the project that's already done?
70%. Not 70%.
70%? Okay. So it's pretty substantial, completion almost. And having this, different direction and different needs places you in an uncomfortable position. I'm glad that DOT is also obviously your partner in this project and is able to identify funds, to put towards this project. I don't have any further questions. I just wanted to put a little bit more context into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. I feel like we've gone through a lot of the items. It is, and I know we have experiences with the 6th Street Viaduct. It's unfortunate that some of the expectations on the part of Metrolink have been fluid over the course of projects. It's challenging for us, to say the least, and for y'all, us being y'all. And so I appreciate the challenge there and the effort on the parts of Streets LA and DOT to navigate that. Echoing Commissioner Colosa, we may want to think about more global conversation with Metrolink around planning for future projects. Just certainly they can understand needing to plan for projects. and budgets. And so I would certainly encourage y'all to contemplate that and maybe getting together with BOE and DOT to have some of those conversations. So, but with that, I'm pretty clear. And look, we're all on board. You have to. This has to be as safe as is absolutely technologically and humanly possible. So there's no equivocation there. It's just around the planning and the timing, which I know is a source of frustration for y'all and for everybody else. So with that, and again, DOT found the $900,000 as basically money that was available in their grant program, right? That's what.
Correct.
And the 225 is to pay. I can't remember the contract, which contractor it was, but their first basically payback on them fronting the money for the first tranche of funds for the RWICs, right?
Correct. Okay. Yes.
Okay. I'll take a motion to move the item forward.
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Dr. Campos, can we take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Villegas, seconded by Commissioner Garcia to adopt item number 6. We will go ahead and start the vote at this time. President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. Dr. Davis, you are on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye. Sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Caloza
Aye.
and Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and is carried unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this to go forthwith?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. El Sahib. Thank you, Mr. Cortez. And continue the work. Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all have great days. All right. That brings us to item, I'll tell you what I want to do. I'd like to call a 5-minute recess in case folks need to have a pit stop. And we will return at 11:15 in the a.m. All right?
Thank you.
For you. Let me just get confirmation. All right, we are now in record mode, Mr. President. Would you like me to reestablish quorum?
Please do so.
Thank you so much. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. It is 11:19 a.m., 11:19 a.m. We will go ahead and reestablish quorum. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. Mr. President, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. All right, that brings us, let's start off with item number 7. Item number 7 is a request for proposal, clean water and stormwater control system upgrade and integration, recommending the board, 1, authorize the director and general manager of the Bureau of Sanitation or her designee to distribute and advertise the transmitted RFP for clean water and stormwater control system upgrade and integration. 2, authorize the Bureau of Sanitation to evaluate the proposals and, from the respondents, select and interview the responsible and responsive proposer whose final proposal is the most advantageous to the City of Los Angeles based on established evaluation criteria set forth in the RFP. 3, authorize Bureau of Sanitation to negotiate a contract with the selected proposer. 4, authorize the Bureau of Sanitation to return to the Board of Public Works for authority to award and execute the contract. And 5, consider that this project be awarded subject to the inclusion of a project labor agreement. Mr. Alavi is, I believe, here on this item, correct?
Yes, President Good.
Good morning, sir, and please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Commissioners, Bureau Reps, Mr. Jordan, and Dr. Campos. So we are part of the LSN's vision is to implementation of enterprise-wide distribution control system (DCS) to integrate all operations. That means the 4 treatment plants, collection system, and various operational systems at an enterprise level from any single location. So part of LMW's contract.
Mr. Alani, can I ask you a quick question, just clarifying question for the public before you go on? Can you just explain a little bit what enterprise system actually means?
We have control system at all facilities, all the treatment plants and the collection system. So we had different systems for control of control and monitoring of these sites. Prior to LMWins, we had different systems. Now we have an enterprise-wide, with the LMWins contract, we have one system, one unified system to control from any location, control and monitor different facilities.
So enterprise system in this setting, again,
It's a system.
It is a system-wide. It is the entire it is a system serving the entire enterprise.
Exactly.
So it's not Star Trek.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that no one got confused there. Okay, although they were also dealing from a centralized system, so that may be it. Okay, thank you very much.
So we have a good system right now, brand new system with all the hardware and software updated, and is a long-term project through LMWins. We have no issues with getting the latest upgrades. That's part of the contract with LMWins, with the Honeywell. So we have completed the construction for the treatment plants and also the Venice pumping station, with the Venice pump station as the integration point for all remote control clean water and stormwater facilities. LMWins is currently under maintenance phase and will end in January of 2028. Now, integration of remaining clean water and stormwater remote facilities was not included as part of LMWins, and that's why we are here. The enterprise-wide DCS communication backbone is now established and is ready for integration of all the remaining clean water and stormwater facilities. The control system in the current clean water and stormwater sites are not standardized. They are from different manufacturers. The equipment is in various stages of their life cycle. Some of them are more than 40 years old. The communication system encounters frequent failures due to aging equipment and corrosive environment. Now, completing the integration of the remaining sites, the 86 sites throughout the city, will fulfill the LSN's vision of enterprise-wide DCS integration control for operation from any single location. The new contract is envisioned to be awarded to a system integrator, a Honeywell system integrator, or electrical contractor independent from Honeywell. But Honeywell equipment, as their sole source provider, will be used to maintain uniformity. The execution strategy of the new contract is to break up the work into 4 groups, Group A, B, C, and then one for a stormwater sites, with notice to proceed for each group to be issued. The work it covers a couple of purposes. Number one, we can withhold, we have the flexibility to withhold NTP and terminate the non-performing contractor at the end of each group. If we are not happy with them, this is learning from experience with LMWins project. So we have that control. That's why we divide it into 4 groups. The other reason is for the funding purposes, the stormwater sites are in one group, the last group actually, and they have different funding source, such as Stormwater Pollution Abatement Fund. And that's another reason we divided those into 4 groups. Now, completion of this new contract is 4 years duration with 2 years of warranty. That takes us to 2028, that coincided with completion of LME's contract. And that is a good opportunity in 2028 to formulate a coherent strategy for maintenance and upkeeping of the entire system in 2028. Part of the project is in the RFP and also as we mentioned at the board report, we have included the provision of a project labor agreement for the construction phase of the contract. And also because it is a design-build project, we were required to obtain an ordinance through City Attorney's Office, board, and council. So ordinance number 187154 was signed by the council and the mayor, and the effective date is October 1st of 2021. For evaluation of the proposers, we're going to have a panel of qualified city folks that will be on the panel. We have a first stage of evaluation is a written. We review the written RFP responses to evaluate those based on the criteria such as professional qualification, past involvement with similar projects, the cost and cutover and commissioning options. So once we have completed the reviews of all these contract evaluation criteria, we pick the top 3 scorers. And we're going to invite them to the interview process, and from the interview process that is going to be held later on, we look at the different criteria such as value engineering, delivery of project, proposer personnel, and risk management. And on top of this, we also encourage local business enterprise. We consider 8% added to local businesses if they are local. The prime is local business enterprise. And then in case the prime is not local, but they work with subcontractors that are local business enterprises, we give up to 5% depending on how much of that work is given to the subs that are local. We add that 5% to the final score for selection. Once we select that the contractor, the best qualified proposal, we come back to the board and get approval to negotiate and issue notice to proceed. Again, of course, it has to go to the council as well. So with that, we are requesting the board to authorize us to continue with advertising the RFP for proposals. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Alabi. I'm sure we'll have questions, so we'll open it up. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good, and thank you, Mr. Alabi, for your report. Mr. Alabi, you have here number 5. Consider that this project to be awarded subject to the inclusion of a project labor agreement. Can you tell me, or can you describe to me how the project labor agreement will be integrated into this project?
We are going to work with on the construction phase of the contract. We will have electricians, instrument techs, just like LME's contract had the same situation. And these are union members. these are the, we have to comply with the labor agreement, basically, for those union workers.
Okay, so during the construction phase, that's the part where we'll be bringing in some project labor agreement. That's where we'll be activating the project labor agreement. But you don't specifically, you don't have what specific trade or job this would call for?
We will have electricians and instrument techs for one thing.
Okay. Okay. That was really all my question. I understand what we're trying to do here. Have one system for all of our plants. And where would this be housed? Was this be housed at Hyperion?
Well, the site, we have 86 sites throughout the city. And then
I guess your headquarters.
The headquarters probably would be the Venice pump station, pumping plant.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think that's it for me, President Good, and I'll just continue to hear what my colleagues' other questions have. Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, the PLA will be signed by the contractor. It has to be.
I think we may want to amend the recommendation to more accurately reflect basically that this would be subject. I mean, that is what you're, Mr. Alavi, you were saying that the project will be subject to the project labor, the master project labor agreement, correct?
The construction phase of the contract will be.
Dr. Davis?
Could you tell me what our goal is in terms of the tasks that we are seeking once we select those prime contractor and subs to do the work? What's our overall goal here?
Well, the goal is to have a complete unified system throughout the city, that we have not to worry about communication failure. That's the major issues that could cause problem. If the collection system, for example, we don't have a proper communication, they might have caused accidents like we have seen in recent months.
Mm-hmm.
And the communication is an issue. Once we have this unit, we already have established this great system that we have, new system, the new hardware and software.
Did you say
the sites that are not integrated as part of LMS will be included in our case?
Who did you say we dealt with in the old system that we currently have, or the new system that we're pleased with? What vendor, what prime contractor did that work?
Well, the contract was performed by the Honeywell.
That's what I thought I heard you say. Now, are they
Yes.
Are they one of the people in the groups here from whom we are going to explore a possibility for being considered, or we don't know?
From what we know, what we have heard, they are not. They of course they have a sole source with the city for the equipment to be provided by Honeywell. They are probably not interested. They're not going to stop them. Nobody can stop them from proposing.
Correct.
In response to our, but from what we know, they are just interested in providing some assistance, and also the equipment, the PCMs and other equipments are going to be provided by Honeywell system. It's going to be Honeywell system.
Well, my concern is that I'm unclear about what we expect from those, and of course we don't know yet who all is going to compete, but I did hear you talk about some continuity of technology and service, that obviously we would want a vendor who could be compatible with the technology that we currently enjoy. And so I guess these are some uncertainties for which we can't predict in terms of who is going to compete and if they are going to be able to provide the kind of technological plan that fits in successfully with what we currently have. But I would suspect that in your evaluation of who's appropriate to be one of the possible vendors, that we would configure all of that.
That is absolutely correct. Is part of the evaluation is their familiarity with and recent experience with this Honeywell system.
Okay, because I did not hear you mention that in the
It's part of-
variables that you said we were going to be looking for.
Right, it's part of that evaluation criteria that is included in the RFP and also on the board report.
Okay, gotcha. And so we're satisfied with the system that we have. How long do you think? What's your estimated guess of how long this process will take us?
Well, the LWIS project is a long term. It's going to take us to 2028. So we don't have to worry about the upgrades. We don't have to worry about the spare parts. We don't have to worry about even the pricing, because if we have a schedule of the prices, the unit prices that we have. And then once we have this contract finished, it's going to take about 4 years. It's going to also take us to 2028.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we can look at moving forward with the maintenance and of the system, coming up with a comprehensive, coherent approach at that time, 2028.
Once we are able to put together the system in the fashion that we seek to do, what will it allow us to do as an organization in terms of the implementation of this system?
Well, it's going to provide the city the capability for uninterrupted communication, monitoring from remote sites of all facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And the communication has been issued for many, many years. And we are going to have that capability that we need to have.
And you said it would be headquartered at the Venice pump plant. Where did you say?
Yeah, Venice pumping plant, and also there's a location called Doris Place. So, and potentially with this new system, we can monitor from any single location, even from Hyperion, we can monitor.
Got it. That was going to be my next question. So there will be continuity of information with this system,
Right.
and then also obviously continuity in terms of repairs to maintaining the system, because we'll all have the same information.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Calosa?
Thank you, President Good. Thanks for your presentation, Mr. Alavi. I know this is another mega project from LA-SAN, right? It's $26 million. It's a huge, huge project. I just wanted to share some additional background in the briefing that you had for me when we went over this. But can you kind of just speak about the prioritization of the different locations? I know you're grouping them in. You have Group A, you have Group B, and you have Group C. Can you just talk about what's included in each groups? Because I don't think it details it in the report itself, kind of like what you mentioned to me in my briefing.
Yeah, we have been working with the conveyance division, and they are the ones that are using the system. They have come up with these sites that are probably needed to be taken care of, mitigation of some of those problematic sites maybe. So the selection, the prioritization of these sites was with conveyance system, with divisions.
But can you elaborate more on what the locations are?
Well, I sent you that map of
yeah, I know you sent it to me, but this is the opportunity to share with the rest of the board. I'm just asking you the same questions essentially that I asked you in the briefing, just for the benefit of the board so they can understand this. It's a very complex project.
Right. So basically, they are not. The 86 sites are throughout the city. Now, the Group A, again, also is not selected based on geographic location. The conveyance division have provided, and we have to rely on them. I don't know the details of it. I can provide that information later. I have to consult with them again to see what is the exact reasons of why they selected certain groups, certain sites to be Group A and prioritize that way. Was that their selection?
Okay. Can you, yeah, I wish you had some of that information here, because I'm just asking you questions that I had already asked you previously, just for the benefit of my colleagues, because they're asking us to vote on this $26 million RFP. Can you talk a little bit about who is going to be on the evaluation team?
We are going to, we have, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, can you share who's going to be on the evaluation team? Is everybody from the city?
Yeah, everybody from the city is going to include people from conveyance divisions, because they are the ones who use the system. People, our colleagues from ICSD, Bureau of Engineering, and then we're going to ask other folks from maybe we get advice from executives at LA San if they're going to be involved also. So it's going to be city folks, the experts in different areas will be invited, and again, it's going to be all city folks, city employees.
So no consultants will be on the review?
No.
Okay. And just curious, will BOE be involved in this in terms of...
BOE, I have contacted them, and they're going to have a couple of people, probably 1 or 2 people involved as part of the evaluation panel.
Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful to outline in the board report too, just so we can read it before voting on large items like this, because I know there's a lot of complicated parts on here about value engineering and project delivery. So that's, their bread and butter. That'd be really good to make sure to get their expertise on this, since you have so many joint projects together, especially around clean water projects. Especially since this one involves Hyperion as well. Let me see what else here that might be helpful. I think I'm gonna yield the rest of, my questions right now, but it would have been helpful to have you come prepared to answer some of those questions that you followed up with me on via email, just so the board can understand the prioritization of the different groupings of the locations, since we're talking about a large upgrade to our systems. Like I said, I know you sent me the map afterward, but that's something that's helpful for, I think, my colleagues to have in advance. I know you sent me multiple communications after clarifying this very complicated project, and that might be something worth sharing with my colleagues as well, so they have that information, because it's such a, like I said, it's such a large project.
Yeah, again, the prioritization was set by the conveyance divisions, and they have been communicating this list of which ones they want to take care of for the last few years, actually. We were working this, and I'm sure they have good reasons for the way they set it up, to prioritize it.
Is there a reason why we didn't invite them to the hearing today, so we could hear from them directly?
We didn't think this was needed at this time.
Okay. It's a little disappointing to hear. Like I said, it's a $26 million RFP. It would be helpful to have a fully staffed team to answer all these different questions. I'm going to yield the rest of my time to my colleagues. Thank you.
Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Alavi. I appreciate your report. I'm going to just be honest. I don't feel at all comfortable voting on this item today. Part of the ad hoc committee for Hyperion, there's a lot of work going on right now. And, I wasn't briefed, nor did I request a briefing, but I do feel like I need one now because it is so complicated. I have many questions, but there's no point in going through them right now if I can't sit down and actually understand, what's going on. I don't even know if this RFP has been vetted with BOE because in light of Hyperion, so many issues, came about. So I don't feel comfortable voting on this today.
Okay.
Can I have a comment too, Mr. President? Again, I know you've given me a chance to ask questions.
Sure, go ahead.
A conceptual framework is important in terms of what this is. You heard me ask you, what is our purpose? What will this do? So here's what I want to find out from you. Would it be fair to say that this project will create a tool and an avenue by which more people in the city will, through this communication system, be aware of everything they need to know about monitoring the system on a day-to-day basis? Is this what this system, this network will do? It will bring more people in to becoming more aware of the health and welfare of our sewer system, and thereby more people involved. We would hope that this will result in perhaps the most effective and potential resources to resolve problems than currently. Is that pretty accurate?
That's pretty accurate.
Okay,
With
that's
this
what I
system
thought.
in place, we will have
That's what I thought.
the
Now,
ability.
yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but here's what I'm thinking. When you come back to us, it's important when you present these things to be able to have a conceptual framework from which we are presenting the proposal. Meaning that you come in and you let us know what the purpose of this is, and you tell us specifically what it will do. We need to know that more people in the system who have oversight for monitoring and are stakeholders in its management of the system will be more aware. Their awareness will be increased. And secondly, they will have more access to the information to make a decision. Your grandparents used to tell you two heads are better than one. That would be a conceptual framework here. Two heads are better than one. More people will be involved in the effective management of our system as a result of this tool. And so I think bringing us a conceptual framework and making it clear in those terms is critically important. I mean, I know it's complex, but it can also be presented in a way that we will understand very clearly what we're getting. And so that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. To clarify, Mr. Lavi, this is, or maybe it's clarifying your point, Dr. Davis. This is not a system that is available to. This is not for external stakeholders. This is strictly an internal system, Mike. So I just wanted to be clear there. Okay. So it's not about public access to information.
No. It's about more people who manage, having more information to manage.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to move to continue this to Wednesday, December 1st. And Mr. Levy, I think it would be definitely, thank you for today. And then what I'd like to do is make sure that any board member who would like a briefing, a deep dive briefing on this, to be afforded that. And you can count me in there as well, okay?
Okay.
Any objections, colleagues? Thank you. And any objections, colleagues, to moving to Wednesday, December 1st? All right, thank you, Mr. Alavi. Dr. Campos, you got that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Mr. Alavi, and everyone, have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to item 8, folks. Speaking of Hyperion, contract award, PPC Construction, Inc., Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Ferric Chloride Facility Replacement, CIP 2460, and this is a rebid, recommending the board declare PPC Construction, Inc., first low bidder and a certified local business enterprise to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award PPC a contract for the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Ferric Chloride Facility Replacement Project for $2,461,340. And 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. I see Mr. Shaw and I see Mr. Miyayu. Good morning to both of you, and it is still morning. Thank you.
Morning. Good morning. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. The Capital Improvement Project, CIP 2460, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plan, Ferric Chloride Facility Replacement, was advertised with city engineers' estimate of $2,090,000 by the board on May 14, 2021. 4 bids were received on June 23, 2021. Just to give the background, the ferric chloride tanks and the associated equipment at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant have reached their useful life and need to be replaced. The project scope of work includes the removal and replacement of 4 15,000-gallon ferric chloride storage tanks, 2 transfer pumps, 2 sump pumps, flow meters, control valves, and eye wash stations. In addition, the scope of work includes concrete repair, mechanical, electrical, and instrumentation and control. The estimated cost breakdown is 14% for tanks at $88,000 for procurement of each of the 4 tanks, 49% for mechanical, 16% for electrical and INC, and 7% cost for structural scope of work. The contract duration is 365 calendar days. On August 11, 2021, the Program Review Committee approved a construction budget including contingency of $2,858,000. The recommendation is to declare PPC Construction first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award PPC a contract for the project for $2,461,340. This concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I'll open it up. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. I appreciate your report. Thanks for that feedback. On this item, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
None for me either, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Vice President Garcia.
No questions from me either. Thank you, President Good.
And Commissioner Closa.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Shaw. I don't have any questions on this item. I know we need to replace this equipment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agreed. This is pretty crystal clear. So thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Miyayu. And I'll take a motion to approve the item.
So moved.
A second.
All right, I'll take a motion from Dr. Davis, seconded from Commissioner Closa. Dr. Campos, can we take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Caloza to adopt item number 8. of today's agenda. We will go ahead and start the vote at this time. President Good,
Aye.
Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza,
Aye.
and Commissioner Villegas. This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this item to go forthwith?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Mayayu.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to item number 9. Item number 9 is a contract award for EC Inc., Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Berm Improvements Project CIP 6205. It's also a rebid, recommending the board, 1, declare Act 1 Construction Inc., apparent first low bidder, to be ineligible for the award of the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Berm Improvements Project as discussed in this report. And 2, declare Ford EC Inc., second low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ford EC a contract for the DCT WRP Berm Improvements Project for $5,936,000. And 3, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. Mr. Ruiz is with us, and Mr. Shaw, I believe you're staying on as well. Who is presenting?
Sir, I'm presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Go ahead.
Thank you. The Capital Improvement Project CIP 6205, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, berm improvements, was advertised with the city engineer's estimate of $6,794,600 by the board on February 16, 2021. 7 bids were received on March 13, 2021. To give you the background, the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant is located at the bottom of the Belvedere Basin floodplain on land leased from the United States Army Corps of Engineers. The plant's location makes it vulnerable to risk of flooding during major storm events. This project will protect the plant from 100-year flood by extending the height of existing 5,250 linear feet of perimeter berm and flood control barriers by extending height in the range of 6 inches to 24 inches. This will also meet the lease requirements as agreed upon by the city and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The cost breakdown is 59% for the structural scope of work and 29% for the civil scope of work. The contract duration is 549 calendar days, or approximately a year and a half. On November 18, 2020, the Program Review Committee approved a construction budget, including contingency, of $7,315,000. The bid bond submitted by the bidders for this project expired at the end of 3 months from the bid opening date. Act 1 construction and Ford EC were both requested to extend their bid bond, which expired on June 29, 2021. On August 31st, 2021, Act 1 construction, parent first low bidder informed the BOE staff that they are unable to extend their bid bond. Therefore, the BOE staff determined that Act 1 is not eligible for award of this project. Ford EC has agreed to extend its bid bond until November 19, 2021. The recommendation is to declare Act 1 construction, the parent first low bidder, to be ineligible for the award of this project, then to declare Ford EC second low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ford EC a contract for $5,936,000 for the project. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Vice President Garcia, any questions?
Thank you, President Good. Mr. Shaw, can you just, and I'm sure you said it in your report, and I apologize for that. Can you repeat to me why Act 1 was not eligible for the award?
Yes, so the bid bond, which is the requirement of this contract and which guarantees that the successful bidder will complete the contract in timely manner and finish the required performance for labor and material. Those bid bonds, when the bidder submits it, they are valid for only 3 months. And if we are not able to award the project before the expiration of bid bonds, we request the bidders if they can extend their bid bond. So on August 31st, 2021, both Act 1 and Ford EC, they were requested if they can extend their bid bond. So Act 1 chose not to extend it. What it means is that the bidder will consider that because of the time passed, their bids are not good, they will not be able to perform the work as per what they bid. So that's why we request more than one bidders to extend their bid bond. So, yeah.
So basically, Act 1 chose to not extend the bid bond, which made them ineligible to proceed with the contract.
That's correct. So, or in other words,
Okay.
if today, if Act 1 was awarded, it will be their business decision that it may not be feasible for them to complete this project with the bid amount. But all the bidders, there is a bid expiration period. So once that time period is passed, so all the bidders have the choice whether to extend their bid bond or not to extend it.
Okay, understood. That's really all for me. Thank you for explaining that part once again, and I appreciate your report, Mr. Shah. Thank you, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes, no questions for me on this item. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Villegas?
Thank you. I don't have any questions either. I appreciate Commissioner Garcia's questions. Thank you. Gave me more context.
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Closa?
Thank you, President Good. Thank you to my colleagues for your questions. Yeah, it's too bad that it was an Act 1. It's a difference of 23% versus 12% low. I think either way, it's good that we got low bids. Ford EC is a local business enterprise, which is always good. But I thought that this was helpful in your briefing, Mr. Shah. And the other thing that I'll add to is a question that I had in my briefing is I was asking whether or not we would building on top of or taking down the existing berms because I thought they looked, fairly intact. And Mr. Wong, when he briefed me, let me know that there's going to be some areas where we're going to be building on top of the existing walls and extending them. So just wanted to add that additional detail in case you're curious what's happening with the existing berms that are already in place, but we're just making them higher essentially. But no questions for me. Thank you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you, Commissioner. No questions for me. This has been a long time coming, this project, and lots of effort in multiple directions. So it's good to see that we're going to have an opportunity to move forward with this. I will motion to move the item forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, can we take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Davis to adopt item number 9. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas. This this
And we'll take
motion.
it forthwith, Dr. Campos.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Ruiz. That brings us to item number 10. Item number 10 is street closure, T intersections at Mission Road, Jesse Street and Myers Street. Jesse Street, the 6th Street Viaduct Mission Myers Roundabout Project, recommending the board authorize a temporary full closure of the T intersections at Mission Road, Jesse Street and Myers Street, Jesse Street for 6 months starting on November 22nd, 2021 and ending on May 15th, 2022 for the roundabout roadway construction associated with the Mission Myers Roundabout Project. Mr. Lamb is with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning, or rather good afternoon. My name is Gary Lamb from the Bureau of Engineering, 6th Street Viaduct Division. So the board report before you is to recommend authorization for the temporary full closure at the closely spaced pair of T intersections at Mission Road / Jesse Street and Myers Street / Jesse Street for a total of 6 months. Just to provide the commissioners with a brief background first, this project was awarded through the Board for Construction back on June 26, 2020 to the Axiom Group. And the scope of work for construction of this project involves the construction of a new roundabout, so a new traffic circle, if you will, that will improve vehicle circulation around this pair of T intersections that we're trying to eliminate. And it's going to involve roadway pavement, permeable pavers, typical signage and striping, storm drain improvements, landscaping, irrigation, utility relocation, and new street lighting. And in developing the traffic control plans for this project, we had to keep in mind a very critical construction project directly to our north, which is the 6th Street Viaduct project, as well as minimizing any disruptions to our local businesses. So what we did was we worked with our contractor and LADOT to develop a two-phased approach to our construction and traffic control plan. So phase 1 is what we're currently doing, which is construction of the portion of the roundabout within the dedicated street from LA Sanitation. So it used to be an LA Sanitation parking lot that was dedicated for street purposes. So we're doing all the construction within that site for phase 1. And then our phase 2 proposal, which we're trying to do right now, is to have a temporary full closure of this pair of closely spaced T intersections so that we can construct the actual roundabout and the tie-ins from the street, the tie-ins being from Mission, Myers, and Jesse Street. So in doing so, we're going to be able to manage our impact to the viaduct and also minimize our disruption to the local businesses. We have consulted with the council office, and they are in full support. We have provided our traffic control plans to LADOT. They have reviewed it and they have approved it as well. And we have also consulted the Bureau of Street Services, and they have no objections to the temporary full closure. I do want to point in mind that during the proposed full closure here, we will be able to maintain access to the local businesses. And we have been coordinating with them as well, and we are going to provide them with a minimum 10-day notice prior to our actual closure. This temporary closure will not have any additional effect to our current construction costs for the project as well. That concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Colleagues, will open it up. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that certainly the improvement on traffic and access to the traffic in terms of keeping it moving is a great asset of the roundabouts. And secondly, I like roundabouts. I think they really add aesthetic value to neighborhoods and to communities. So I'm very glad to see you implementing these, and I'd love to see a few more of those strategically in different areas of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you for your report. I don't have any questions. I'm glad this project is coming together. It's going to be a big improvement for that whole area. No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Closa.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions on this item, on this street closure. I know I won't go into it. There's a lot of strong opinions on the board about roundabouts, both for it and against it. I will not state my preference here, but I got a slight.
Let us guess.
I got a slight PTSD from a board meeting a few years ago when you said roundabout. But no questions on this specific item. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Vice President Garcia.
I don't have any questions either on this item here. But thank you, Mr. Lam, for your support and for your time this morning. Thank you.
Commissioner Villegas, did I give you an opportunity? Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think irrespective of various opinions about roundabouts, we know this is an important one. I know the activation of this project is going to be crucial with 6th Street, with that little project you alluded to, just slightly north of this one, the 6th Street Viaduct. So thank you, Mr. Lamb. This is obviously necessary. That community is quite used to, the impacts of again that tiny project to the north, and we trust that you will be, and I know there's a 10-day notice, but that y'all will be aggressive, and I mean not aggressive, but diligent in your outreach to make sure everyone's aware on this. So I'll take a motion to move the item forward.
So I'll second.
I think Davis hit it first. So, I'll give it to Davis with a second from Closa. Dr. Campos, you want to give us a roll call, please, sir?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Caloza to adopt item number 10. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza.
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this item to go forthwith?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Thank you, Dr. Campos. That brings us to item number 11. Item number 11 is a budget increase in revised funding amounts. Vision Zero Phase 2D project. Los Angeles Department of Transportation recommending the board approve the revised funding amounts for the Vision Zero Phase 2D project and increase the contract to $9,933,093.20 for the project. Mr. Driscoll from DOT, I believe, is with us on this item. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We do have you, yes.
Excellent. Again, my name is Adam Driscoll with DOT. I'm an engineer for our Vision Zero division. Hopefully this is a nice, straightforward board report we got for you. For this one, some background. Back in March of 2020, we awarded the Vision Zero Phase 2D traffic signal improvement package, and that package consisted of just a bunch of traffic signal safety improvement projects across the city. And that one of those signals was an intersection at Gilmore and Winnetka, or a signal improvement at Gilmore and Winnetka that consisted of installing a new crosswalk and a pedestrian hybrid beacon signal, or a HAWK signal. And the interesting thing about that intersection, it's one intersection that had its a separate funding source. It wasn't funded by the bigger Vision Zero funds. So if you look in the board report, you'll see there's one account where we only spend $250,000, and it's for this intersection because it's part of sort of a different. It's funded by a different account. But when the engineers and the inspectors got out there, they quickly identified that the access ramps were not up to the latest ADA standards. And so we decided we would BOE would help us out with design plans, and we'd issue a change order to the contractor. And we negotiated that change order, and it came out to about $96,000. And there wasn't enough contingency in the fund to pay for that. And so we had to identify another fund that we show in this board report, and basically, as I see it, or as I understand it, this board report is just formalizing the addition of this new fund and account and to adding it to the Vision Zero Phase 2D contract so we can pay the contractor this change order to get the ADA compliant ramps in at this new signal.
Thank you, Mr. Driscoll. Dr. Davis?
I don't really have any questions on this one. It's pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Vice President Garcia?
No questions from me either. Thank you, Adam, for your report.
Welcome.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Colosa?
Thank you, President Good. No questions for me. Thank you for your report, Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. And Commissioner Villegas?
I don't have any questions either. Thank you. I appreciate the report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Driscoll. Pretty clear here. Need to do it, and I don't really have any further questions. So thank you. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Second?
Second?
I'll second.
There's no roundabouts involved here, so there shouldn't be.
No, we're losing parking. So.
I'll take a second from Commissioner Colosa. Dr. Campos, you want to take a roll call, please, sir?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Colosa to adopt item number 11. We'll go ahead and take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Colosa?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas?
Aye.
Thank you. This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this to go forthwith?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you.
Okay. So that brings us to items 12 and 13, which we can take together. I'll read them both, and we'll take them as one. Item 12 is specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is a project in CD 12, Balboa Boulevard widening at Devonshire Street, federal project number STPL-5006, 840, work order E1908305, estimated cost $1,755,795. Bid receipt date, if approved, January 12, 2022. Item 13, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids, CD14 project. Secondary sewer renewal program, N04, Washington Boulevard and Soto Street. Work order SZC 13105, estimated cost of the project $2,423,210. Estimated bid receipt date, if approved, is January 19, 2022. Any questions on these items, colleagues? All right. I'll motion to move items 12 and 13 forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Dr. Campos, can you take a roll call for us, please, on items 12 and 13?
Absolutely. Thank you. And Commissioner Villegas, you're always a little like 30 seconds behind everyone. But Commissioner Garcia beat you to it. So there's been a motion by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Garcia to adopt item number 12 and 13. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza,
Aye.
and Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
Thank you. This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider items 12 and 13 to go forthwith? You're on mute, but I will take that as a yes.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, item 14, colleagues. Item 14, the mayor and city, this is an administrative item. The mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the proposed personal services agreement with Total Air Analysis, Inc. for the source testing of landfill and compost air pollution control equipment. Do I have a motion to receive and file item number 14?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Dr. Campos, do you want to take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Villegas, to accept and receive item number 14. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza.
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is approved and carries unanimous. Mr. President, could we consider this to go forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thanks.
All right. That brings us to what I believe is our last item today, because item 16 is continued. So item 15 is the landfill closures update. And I think I see Miguel Zermano up there, who may be presenting. Mr. Zermano, are you with us?
I'm here.
Are you presenting?
I am presenting along with James Greenfield. So before I start, Dr. Campos, in the event I need to share a presentation or some pictures, just to make sure to give a visual to the board members, would that be possible to do as well?
Yes, Mr. Zermino, I go ahead and make you co-host at this time. Once I do that, you'll have an invitation to do that. The share screen icon will be activated. One thing I will ask you to make sure you stay away from, and that is the red button that says end or leave. If you do that, that terminates the full call for everyone.
No problem. I would. In the event I need to activate the presentation, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'm going to begin my presentation. Good afternoon, Board President, Mr. Good, Board members, City Attorney, Executive Officer, Board Representative. My name is Miguel Zermano. I'm here with James Greenfield, another Assistant Division Manager for our division. We're here to provide you with the annual report for the closed landfills that LA Sand manages. So I'll give you a little summary. The city owns and maintains five closed landfills, which includes Lopez Canyon, Toyon Canyon, Bishop Canyon, and Gaffey Street and Sheldon Arleta landfills. All these landfills are in post-closure maintenance, and they're being developed for beneficial use for the community and for improvement of the environment. With that, I'm going to transfer the presentation to Mr. Greenfield, and then he will transfer it back to me once we move to the other landfills not related to Lopez. So, James, take it over.
All right. Good afternoon, Board President, Mr. Good, and board members. I'll be reporting on Lopez Canyon Environmental Center, which is located in Council District 7 at 11950 Lopez Canyon Road in Lakeview Terrace. It was an active landfill from 1970 to 1996. Full closure was completed in 2012, and now we perform post-closure maintenance. Lopez Canyon Environmental Center continues to be an environmental and a community benefit facility. We have landfill gas to energy facility on site. We currently all the gas produced is converted to green power. Approximately 2 million kilowatt hours of green power is produced every month, and the power produced is sold to LADWP. Lopez Canyon Environmental Center Green Waste Processing Facility, we currently process about 700 tons per week of yard trimmings collected from our curbside collection program and brush delivered by private contractors. We produce mulch and compost products, which we offer free to residents, schools, and to community events. Lopez Canyon Environmental Education Center, prior to COVID, we hosted gardening workshops to residents where they can come and learn about backyard composting, smart gardening, and rainwater collection. In partnership with Pacoima Beautiful, we were offering classes on the fourth Saturday of each month on urban gardening and backyard composting. The classes are popular with over 100 people attending each month. We look forward to these classes resuming in the future. We have a helipad at LA San, which we partnered with LAFD and built next to our site's million-gallon water storage tank, which LFD uses, and the sister agencies for training and firefighting readiness efforts. The helipad is an important resource for fighting local brush fires and is used throughout the fire season. The Trailhead and Trailhead Development Plan is a part of Lopez Canyon's master plan, which is to convert the landfill into outdoor recreational use spaces. We are currently working on developing some buffer areas within the landfill property into community use facilities that encompass environmental and recreational uses. We have worked closely with the community and Council District 7 on the development of a trail and equestrian staging area. Construction started in September of 2021. This construction was delayed due to COVID and the hiring freeze. However, we anticipate to complete this project within the next 6 to 8 months. The Lopez Canyon green space improvements. Our site contains a public green space. We completed the redesign for that green space upgrade and presented it to the community in partnership with Council District 7. The design was revised based on input received from the community and the Council District during public comment time. Construction is expected to start by the summer of 2022. Community outreach. Our community outreach to our local neighbors continues to be a high priority. We keep the community informed and involved through biannual Zoom meetings at this time, along with phone calls and emails. Livability Services Division. They're presently in the process of building a satellite office on site and basing some of their staff at Lopez Canyon to serve the nearby council districts. We have added storage for homeless encampment cleanup items on site, working with Crystalis, who manages the storage. And we have, in closing, ongoing biodiversity efforts. LA San has developed a healthy soil strategy for the city of Los Angeles. Lopez Canyon is part of that plan. Areas outside the landfill and our buffer property zones have been identified as potential spaces to develop for future projects for soils improvement, community gardens, community projects, and planting of native plant species. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Miguel Zermano, who will finish the report.
Thank you, James. I'm going to update you on the Toyon Canyon, which is a closed landfill that stopped operating in 1985. We use about more than 80 acres of that, which is inside the Griffith Park. We continue to maintain the post-closure, which is in progress, and we'll continue to maintain that for the next several years. As part of the post-closure maintenance, we establish control. We develop a horse trail for people that like to do horse back riding to use, as well as small resting and picnic area for people that would like to take a rest or break while they're doing their horse riding. In addition to that, we do have a facility where we used to generate electricity there. That facility stopped operating in 2017 due to the new AQ&D regulations in regards to engines. However, currently we have another company who has come in. The name of the company is Three Phase, which already has taken over the contract and has replaced all engines with new engines that have that meet AQ&D requirements. This particular company, Three Phase, is waiting for DWP final approval to start the facility, which is anticipated sometime at the end of this year or early next year. In addition to that, LA Sun is working with the LA Zoo on their new conservation strategy plan. This plan is for Toyans for restoration to natural habitat to promote wildlife and recreational areas for people, for the people by hydroseeding and tree planting. Also, another landfill that we have is the Sheldon Arleta, which is in Sun Valley. That particular landfill closed in 1974, and it's about 40 acres. This particular landfill has already started. We started the recreational development, which is we have the Cesar Chavez Recreational Complex that was developed on that 40 acres. 20 acres have been developed where it was baseball fields were constructed, soccer fields, and other playing grounds for the community to enjoy. Some of the work was done by LA Sun construction crew, which included the grading. Moving forward, there's phase 2 for that development. Right now, the designs have been completed by BOE, which is to develop the remaining 20 acres, which the construction is expected to start in spring 2022, which is going to include baseball fields, basketball courts, and a picnic area. Also, we have Gaffey, which is located in Council District 15. That particular landfill was closed in 1963, which is about 30 acres. 17 acres had been developed into soccer fields in 2002. Currently, is being used by the AYSO for their tournaments. Also, we completed the rebuilding and landscaping of the slopes to replace the surrounding area. In addition, we have partnership with Council District 15 and the LA Community Garden Council to improve the properly managed the community garden located adjacent to the landfill at the entrance of the collection yard. The community garden irrigation system was an upgrade. It was replaced, upgraded, and separated from the city's water meter. Our staff completed this project back in August 2020, and it seems like it's extremely successful. There's 220 plots, and all of them have been taken. And they love it. The community loved it. They have their own little community to where they can grow their own fruits and vegetables. And lastly is the Bishop closed landfill. It was 40 acres. This particular, it's near Dodger Stadium. That particular landfill has been converted into a beautiful park in 2022. That's when we did the first renovation. Then it was renovated a few years ago where they included baseball fields, playground equipment, and barbecue area for the community to enjoy during baseball season. With that, we conclude our presentations and we're open for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Zermeno, Mr. Greenfield. Colleagues, questions? Vice President Garcia?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Mr. Zermeno and Mr. Greenfield, for your very thorough report, and I look forward to continuing doing great things for the community with our landfills. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes, thank you so much for your report. It looks like our practice is to transform landfills to parks. What was the process in terms of preparing our landfill for public usage? What kind of things occurred that we did in terms of that preparation?
What we did, as you know, landfills can only be developed in the zoning. First, we had to go. It was in an industrial zone. So the first thing that we had to go through, it was go through a zone change in order for us to develop that area, which require, as you go through transition, where you're required to make sure you mitigate the collection system, make sure you make it safe for the community, because you do generate methane, and also we have a collection system that is collecting all that gas. Then you do cap the landfill to make sure there's no methane coming through the ground. So that is all done through AQND, through Cal Recycle. It's all regulated, which is part of the post closure, and that's the reason we're going to be there for the next. In some landfills, we've been there for almost 40, 50 years, which is to monitor to make sure the area is safe for either development or creating into a recreational area. So the areas that we have developed have met those conditions in order for us to move forward and rezone into open space and create, the soccer fields, the baseball field. So we go through a thorough process to make sure it's a safety area where people can come enjoy and outdoor activities.
In addition to the practice of transforming them to recreational facilities and places, because we do need, I realize, for those who are into adequate park space in various neighborhoods per family and community, I do recognize the importance of that work. But I do appreciate you informing me of what we have done for safety. And so my question now is, in addition to recreation facilities and park space, have there been any other discussions, or is there any other plan to utilize these landfills for other opportunities in the city? And if so, what are some of the other kinds of projects perhaps that might be considered?
Very good question, Dr. Davis. Right now, we have developed, sanitation has developed a healthy soils plan, and that healthy soils is to look not only into the landfills, because you do have a lot of open space, but in other areas that brownfields that can be utilized. So to focus on the existing landfills, we're working with the healthy soils to see how can we improve the soil conditions, because soils, you need, in landfills, you compact it, it's very hard to grow anything. So we're working with them to see how can we improve the soil conditions, how can we make it, bring more native planting to grow that and promote wildlife activities. I mean, I can tell you at Lopez, we do have, I've heard that we have coyotes, bears, at nighttime they come out. So what we're working not only with healthy soils to promote that, and to promote community gardens for people can come out and not only recreational, but now to cultivate their own fruits, vegetables. So we're working towards that. In addition to that, like I mentioned, we're working with LA Zoo on Toyan. They have this the new conservation plan, which the focus is not only the renovation of the zoo, but is how can we improve the surrounding open space, like in this case, Toyan, where we can promote more natural vegetation to allow the wildlife to come back and roam around the land that has just been there, utilized for as a landfill. So we're working with different agencies to make sure we can use this land for a beneficial use for the wildlife in the community and the residents.
Of all the various landfills that you've discussed today, has there ever been an exploration and discussion about using some of these landfills for industrial building space? We definitely, from an economic development point of view, do need space for industrial kind of businesses, small businesses that want to manufacture something. And then when we look at the possibility of that, we're talking about the possibility of tax increments that go back into the economy. And not only that, into the city's coffers, but equally into the community's coffers, so that if we could build an industrial park, for example, then we would have revenue generating entities in these spaces as well. So has there ever been a discussion about industrial spaces, if you will, in any of these? Because you have several.
At this point, we have not, to my knowledge, we have discussed that, and the reason is, as you mentioned, Dr. Davis, that it needs to be an industrial area. That will require a zoning change because a lot of all this closed landfills have gone through a zone change to open space. So in order to have those discussions, we need to, that's something that will be discussed, um, uh, with the development agency where that it has to go through a zone change where they have to say, look, we got to redevelop, rezone this open space to industrial zoning, and that will be that discussion. But then again, we also have to make sure that we get approval from different agencies to allow us to say, okay, we're done with the post-closure. Now it's safe for you to start uh, digging into the ground, and that will be required. I believe that will require special permits to even start excavating under a closed landfill. So there's a lot of things right now. I think that needs to be discussed in order just to start thinking of industrial park. But I think that's a good idea. I mean, I've been to a conference where that's been going up in Northern California, and it's happening. I understand that's taking place up in Northern California, but not in LA at this point. We have not have those conversations at this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Vice President Garcia, or did you already, yeah. Sorry about that. Commissioner Coloso. And actually, Commissioner Closer, real quick, Mr. Greenfield, I saw you raise your hand, although what you put in the chat, that was your.
Well, if I could just add, there's restrictions on what we can do with closed landfills because they always settle. You really can't do building on them. So that's one of the restrictions. So we're able to build on areas where we call virgin area around, but anywhere on the landfill, we can't build anything. So it's really not practical for industrial complexes and buildings. As Dr. Good mentioned, it'd be great if that land could be utilized that way, but it can't, and because it's producing methane. So there are some solid landfills that you can convert into industrial complexes if it was just construction debris and dirt. But being that it's trash and it's always compacting and settling, and so that's one of the things that we work with the ongoing maintenance is things are always settling, so we have to add fill to make sure that they drain because you can't have pooling water. That's one of the restrictions, and so there's just some things that we can do practically. We can't even plant certain things because their roots will penetrate into the trash and allow the methane to be released. So there's a lot of restrictions, and I think the real estate's eyed with big eyes, but we kind of have a small area of focus that we can actually utilize them for.
But we have all of these kids out there playing, and I hope they're not out there digging and they don't bring their pets and dogs who are out there digging as well. I won't argue parks, and I won't argue open space, though.
So there's a lot of fills, so they're normally capped with like 10, 15, 20 feet of cap that's specially designed and engineered, and then we don't really report this, but we have inspectors that go around, and on a quarterly basis, they inspect every square foot with sniffing equipment to make sure that there's no leaks, and if there are leaks, then we address them. And so this is part of our ongoing post-closure maintenance to make sure that these areas are safe. And so it's monitored regularly, and then our active methane collection areas, we have staff that's assigned to them, on a daily basis. So a lot of monitoring goes on and permanently, and that's kind of like why we're always there. We kind of own these places forever. There's really no walking away from the monitoring and maintenance.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Greenfield. Commissioner Closo?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any additional questions. Thank you for the report and status update on this. I'm just excited to hear specifically, too, about some of the community benefits that have resulted from LACN's work on this. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Villegas. Oops, sorry.
Thank you. I too appreciate the report. Thank you to Mr. Greenfield and Mr. Zermena for your report. Very thorough, good explanation. Appreciate that we're also getting some energy back into our system just from just the methane and such that we're getting. I don't have any questions, just took notes on the Gaffey, landfill, just because it intersects with another project that I'm dealing with on with sanitation and with the Safe Clean Water program. So I don't have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't really either. And Miguel and James, y'all may have mentioned this. By the way, yeah, thank you for the thorough report. But there was a presentation or not? I mean, what happened?
No, there was not a presentation, but in case I needed to present some of the pictures, I was ready to do that, but no.
Got it. I would personally love if you wanted to send those around. And one other just request, and you may already have this, do we have a map, a sort of regional map that shows the different landfills?
Yes, I do it at the sunlight.
I mean, I have to assume that, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind? I mean, no one else may be interested, although based on this conversation, I think everyone would be. Would you mind distributing? You could send it all to Dr.
I'll send you the presentation. It shows you the different locations and what it was before and after, so you can see what activities been taking place. We'll do it after the presentation.
I really appreciate that. And I think my colleagues would as well. So that'd be great. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Greenfield. We have not had the opportunity to meet you, but your presentation was excellent. Really appreciate that. And you sound like someone who spent some time at some landfills, which I appreciate. So thank you. All right, colleagues, any further questions? Okay. Thank you both. Really appreciate that. That was interesting and illuminating. I look forward to your email, Miguel, okay? And with that, Dr. Campos, I believe we have cleared the decks, no?
That is correct. City trees? Oh.
No. That's been continued, Dr. Davis, yeah. Till December 1st, I believe?
Correct, Wednesday, December 1st.
Great, okay. All right, we have cleared the decks. Thank you, colleagues, and with that, have great days. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.